Friends, today's greetings. Today's discussion, the reason or the catalyst for today's discussion is the happening or the event that took place on 5th August 2020. 5th August 2020, many Indians consider as a red letter day, not only for themselves but for India also, because Ram Mandir Bhumi Pujan took place and it was a pending thing, it was a long pending event that was conducted or that was fulfilled on 5th August 2020. Today's discussion I am going to focus on Ram, what it means for the country. But if we talk about only Ram, I think the discussion will be incomplete, half complete. Until and unless we talk about Krishna also, any discussion about Ram is not going to be complete or it's not going to be total or absolute. When you talk about them in comparison and when you talk about them in isolation, then you understand in what way both were important or both are important to India. Both contributed a lot and both did a lot, not only for India but for the Indian society also. Even today also we are forced to take the names of these two people, these two great personalities that created a different brand value, their own unique brand value in India, and now they are considered as gods, or we take them as gods. The kind of lives they led, the kind of things they did, the kind of achievements they accomplished, it is totally incomparable. You can't compare it with any other individual. These two have their own brand values and these two have their own great personalities, and we try to emulate them, we try to copy them in every possible way, in all possible way. We try to learn something from their lives so that we can also be successful, we can also be accomplished, or we can also accomplish good things, great things in our lives. On 5th August 2020, Ayodhya Ram Mandir, Bhumi Pujan was done. Hope that it shows India a way where it progresses positively for a much better future. If it happens, it will be good for India also. Then what we are seeing today, the situation that are prevailing today, we need to come out of it, and only Ram or Krishna can bring us out of this kind of morass. Ram is more purposeful because Ram is called Maryada Purushottam Ram because he was an ideal person for any situation. He will be taking care of each and everything, not only his own family, his subjects, his kingdom, everything. He used to take care of each and every person around him like his own son, his own daughter, his own family. Ram is synonymous with Ram Rajya. There is a kind of imagination about Ram Rajya, or it is said that Ram Rajya was there when Ram was there. And Ram Rajya meant that everybody has everything. As a human being, you can enjoy your life like anything. You can achieve anything, you can speak anything, you can do anything, provided you don't cross the limits of your own human limitations or your own human boundaries. Today's discussion is guided by the developments at Ayodhya, as I told you just now, the birthplace of Lord Rama. It is very natural that Ram Mandir is constructed in Ayodhya because there is no other place where Ram Mandir can be constructed or Ram Mandir or Ram temple can be there, because Ayodhya is synonymous with Ram and Ram is synonymous with Ayodhya. So today's discussion we are going to have in a sort of comparison, or not comparison, but like an analytics, doing an analysis between Ram and between Krishna, Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna. One is Kaushalya Nandan, the other one is Devaki Nandan. One born in Ayodhya, the second one born in Mathura. And today's discussion is going to be a devotee's narrative. Devotee's narrative, I consider it as a great opportunity or as a great achievement for me to be a devotee of these two people. I like them very much and I try to copy or emulate or learn something from them so that I can do something in my life also. The Indian mythology is rich for many things. It has so many events, so many stories that can guide you in your life, how to lead life, how to complete, how to fulfill, how to do your jobs in your life, how to be karma, how to be engaged in karma, and how to be doing everything from day one in, day out, from day to night, from morning till evening. And that is why Hindutva, or whatever you call it, Sanatan Dharma or Hindutva has its own characteristics, unique characteristics that can't be copied or followed, or that can't be done away with. You can't simply wish away Hindutva, because Hindutva is eternal, it is perennial, and it is long lasting. It is the perennial truth. It is the eternal truth or universal truth. The two of the most liked, followed, and worshipped great personalities in India since ages are Ram and Krishna. Both are like gods or living gods, living in the mind, body, and soul of every Indian, chanting Hare Rama Hare Krishna or RadheShyam SitaRam. Actually, I have written two books so far. One is Divorce to Divorce, that is available internationally on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and AuthorHouse.com. Then the second book I wrote about last year is about the title is Divorce Negatives. It talks about providing immunity to handle all kind of stressful or distressful or troublesome situations that we experience around us in any terms. Whatever way we are stressful or whatever way we are distressful or whatever way we feel pressurized, you can handle them successfully if you go through my book, which is Divorce Negatives. It was published in India last year, and it is available on Amazon.in, and the publisher is I just need to remember the name of the publisher and the publisher's website also, that I will put in my narration or in my details when I am uploading this video. These two books. The second book is most important because the kind of situation that we are seeing around us, you can handle them, you can come across, you can see the situations, you can see the solutions in the book Divorce Negatives. The third book is going to be Freedom Unfinished, and the fourth book which I am going to write is about the lives of Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna. And from there only, from that book or from that concept only, I am copying certain things here which I am going to discuss with you all, only because on 5th of August 2020 the Ram temple Bhumi Pujan was done, and that that acted as a catalyst to upload this video, so that if a complete discussion, or not even if not, it is not a complete discussion, at least some sort of ideas I can share with you in terms of Ram and in terms of Krishna. And the title of the fourth book is going to be Hare Rama Hare Krishna, where I am going to talk in detail about the lives of Bhagwan Ram and lives of Bhagwan Krishna, each and every aspect of their life. But let me come back to the topic discussion today, and today's discussion is Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna is my fourth book, I was telling you just now, after Freedom Unfinished, which is going to be third book. Freedom Unfinished means every human being tries to acquire or achieve freedom, but whether it is finished or unfinished, whether you achieve freedom or you are not able to achieve freedom, that is what I am going to discuss in my third book. So I shall be dwelling here upon these living gods from a devotee's angle. Today, let me touch upon their greatness and uniqueness, which both displayed in their own way, still mesmerizing all and sundry. They mesmerized, they surprised, they kind of overpossessed, or they possessed each one of us. They are possessing now also. They possessed the people that were living with them at that times also. And everyone, nobody on this earth can simply wish away Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna. Ram Mandir in Ayodhya is an example of that only, because people so love him, so love them, or so want to worship or cherish them, that they want to build temples in their names, and they want to do worshipping or pujas also. People in India just want to worship them but not follow them in behavior to any extent. This is the kind of experience that we have today. People want to worship them, but people don't want to follow them, or don't want to copy them in the way they led their lives. The kind of behaviors, the kind of principled behavior they showed to the world at that time. Born in different ages, both built and created their own unique brand value, never to be emulated and shadowed by anyone. Even their own brand values did not and could not overtake or supersede each other. Even each other also, they had such a unique brand value that they cannot replace even each other. There can be many aspects for comparative study or analysis, but here we shall keep it limited with most important character highlights pertaining to both. Let us see in what way they are living in their minds, in the minds, bodies, and souls of Indians even today. Not only Indians, even people across the world. I have listed 9 reasons. There can be many reasons, but only 9 reasons I have listed, and on those 9 reasons I am to focus my discussion today, which I will be presenting to you. First one is different yugas. Ram was born in Treta Yug and Krishna was born in Dwapar Yuga. Then the second one is palatial upbringing and rustic upbringing. Ram had a palatial upbringing and Krishna had a rustic upbringing. Then the third one is a family man and a community man. Ram was a family man, Krishna was a community man. Then the fourth one is consciously active and constantly proactive. Ram can be said to be consciously active and Krishna can be said to be constantly proactive. Then ethically straightforward and worldly practical. Ram can be said to be ethically straightforward and Krishna can be said to be worldly practical. Common man's king, king's common man. Ram can be said to be common man's king and Krishna can be said to be king's common man. Then perfectly traditional and totally unorthodox. Ram can be said to be perfectly traditional and Krishna can be said to be totally unorthodox. Humanly supernatural and celestially human. Ram is humanly supernatural and Krishna is celestially human. Then the last one which I am going to discuss today is utterly unselfish, self-sacrificing and humanitarian. This characteristic applies to both. Now let me talk about all of these separately in isolation. Different yugas, Treta Yug and Dwapar Yuga. Ram was born at Ayodhya to King Dashrath and his wife Kaushalya in Treta Yug. Treta Yug comes after Sat Yuga and hence people mostly followed their lives prescribed by knowledgeable ones with wisdom. Even common ones knew what was right and what was wrong. Only powerful people like kings as Ravan dared to violate established principles. Krishna was born at Mathura to ordinary Vasudev and his wife Devaki in the Dwapar Yuga. Dwapar Yuga was before Kali Yuga and hence people generally followed their lives like knowledgeable ones with wisdom. Common ones knew what was right and what was wrong, but behavior patterns did not always match principles. Kings as Kauravas and others were not shying away from violating established principles. Kali Yuga is totally different. Everyone thinks what he is doing is always right. Nobody listens to anyone. Nobody likes to follow established principles for ages. Bad deeds that used to be committed by kings only in Treta Yuga and kings and others in Dwapar Yuga are now committed by all and sundry from top to bottom. The second one, palatial upbringing and rustic upbringing. Ram was born to King Dashrath and enjoyed everything from birth itself. His childhood was decked with all things associated with a palatial life. His education was also guided and mentored by the best of people like Maharshi Vishwamitra and Maharshi Vashishtha, who did everything to impart him best of education required for a king's son to be a king in future. Krishna was born to ordinary Vasudeva in a jail and was devoid of any childhood pleasures or education from birth itself. He did not get any proper schooling, nor did he get any guide or mentor for his education. He used to pass time shepherding cows, playing with rustic friends and playing flute. Mostly he will be in the midst of his friends playing pranks every time, everywhere. Third one, a family man and a community man. Ram's entire life is a guide for any man to lead his life for his family. His family included not only his own family but his entire subjects under his kingdom. He was always mindful of others' needs and expectations and accordingly used to take decisions. Krishna's entire life is a guide for any man to carry along not only his own family but also all his friends and followers. Right from his childhood, he used to take care of his friends in all situations. The same continued during his adult life also. He was a permanent friend of Pandavas. The fourth one is consciously active and constantly proactive next. And always knowing what is right and proper and following his actions accordingly was Ram's forte. Ram was always conscious of the rightful behavior and this was the guiding force behind all his decisions, even if it meant pains or sufferings. He was an ideal person for any situation. Ideal person means Adarsh Purush. Rightfully he is called Maryada Purushottam Ram. Maryada Purushottam Ram means a person who does what he says, visualizing what is likely to happen and accordingly delivering or dealing in his actions was Krishna's uniqueness. Krishna was always proactively active. And before anyone could understand future course of action. Before anyone could understand his future course of action, he would deal in certain way, ensuring peace and order. He was a practical person for any situation, or the way we call it in Hindi is Vyavaharik Purush. Rightfully, he is called Bhagwan Krishna. Ethically, straightforward, worldly, practical. The next one. Ram was always ethically right and straightforward. For any issue, situation, and circumstance, he would behave in the most ideal way, giving no room for analysis or criticism. He continued with it his entire life. He would arrive at the solution, setting precedents for his people or subjects. Even when he killed King Ravan, the king of Sri Lanka, he asked his younger brother Lakshman to take some lessons from him before he dies, as Ravan was considered to be highly knowledgeable, having wisdom. Krishna was always worldly practical. For any issue, situation, and circumstance, he would behave in the most practical way, giving no room for complaint or criticism. He would see the larger interest and long-term effect of any event and accordingly arrive at a solution. For example, after the Kaurav-Pandavs war was over with the killing of Kauravs, Krishna was practical enough to arrange security of Pandavas before meeting Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, because Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the Kauravas were the sons of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, and they did not like their sons to be killed by Pandavas, and Dhritarashtra actually wanted to kill Pandavas when they come to meet him, and that is why Krishna had to prepare arrangements or to prepare alternatives for the security of Pandavas. Next one is common man's king and king's common man. Ram was born a king, but all his life he worked for and lived with common people, common men. His friends and followers were all commoners. He lived like a common man despite a palatial upbringing. To save his wife Sita from King Ravan, he was ably supported by commoners and monkeys. Ravan was a mighty king, but Ram, as a common man, as an ordinary man, defeated and killed him, and then he was victorious as a common man. Krishna was born a commoner, but all his life he worked for and lived with kings. His friends and followers were mostly kings. He was always sought by kings to solve their problems and to come out of their own mess that they created every now and then. He saved Pandava's wife Draupadi from getting disrobed when Yudhishthir, her husband, lost her in the game of chess to Kauravas. Duryodhana and Dushashan, along with other brothers, wanted to disrobe Draupadi to take revenge for the insult that she had perhaps committed on them. He was a charioteer. Krishna was a charioteer for Arjuna during Mahabharata war. Arjuna happens to be one of the 5 Pandava kings in the holy war of Mahabharata that took place. Perfectly traditional and totally unorthodox. Ram was a copybook person. When he would say what he would say, he would do. He would satisfy or tick all the boxes of principled behavior for any moment or situation. Seldom he would give reasons to others for any analysis, and that is why he can be said to be perfectly traditional. Till this day, he is always quoted as an example for any action. When in Indian society, to quote anyone or to help one follow the principled behavior in the life, Ram's name is always quoted. Krishna was an unorthodox person. Nobody could anticipate or predict his next action or course of action or behavior for any situation. His actions would come out of nowhere, but ensuring complete desired effect. He was perfect for his time, as characters during his time were different and conflicting. Near or distant, he would ensure safety for all his friends or followers. He will always be mindful about the safety, longevity and progress and growth of his friends and followers. Then humanly supernatural and celestially human. Ram was supernatural in a human body. The pain, the sufferings, the deeds, the achievements that he endured all his life can destroy anyone but Ram. All his life he appeared to show what we should always be doing for any given situation. His life was so humanly supernatural that people started chanting Ram Nam Satya Hai after death. This is a very common practice in India, to carry the dead body or to carry to carry anyone for purpose of cremation. His name is chanted Ram Nam Satya Hai. Krishna was celestial in a human body. The acts, the deeds, the achievements the accomplishments that he performed all his life can mesmerize anyone but Krishna. For Krishna, it was very common, very natural. All his life, he appeared to show what he could do, and nothing is impossible for him. His life was so celestially human that everyone would come to him asking for solutions, and he would not disappoint them. Next is utterly unselfish, self-sacrificing, and humanitarian. Here, the last one, rather, for today's discussion, this was applicable to both in equal way, in almost a similar way. Despite having totally opposite personalities, both were utterly unselfish, self-sacrificing, and humanitarian. They never disappointed their true friends, their followers, and their well-wishers. They took care of their families in the best possible manner. Whosoever came to them with some hope and expectation, both stood solid with them in their troublesome times or situations. Their entire lives are replete with numerous stories and events depicting the desired action and response for near and dear ones. The way they led their lives, humanity got enriched immensely. Actually, humanity must be extremely, extremely thankful to these two people, the Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna, for showing the way humanity or the humans should lead their lives. The way they led their lives, humanity got enriched immensely. I am repeating this sentence again and again. Both showed that even humans can achieve godliness, can do wonders, can accomplish impossible deeds. They cannot be replaced by anyone. The entire world is forced to remember, respect, and revel Ram and Krishna. The more one remembers them, the more one likes or loves them. Both never ever subjugated their losers. They defeated many a king. They defeated many a people. They defeated many a people or many an influential person. But they never subjugated. They never ever subjugated them. They never ever overpowered them. They gave them freedom after defeating them to lead their lives honorably and respectfully. Ram, we can say, many aspects they were totally different, but in this aspect they were both having similar characteristics: utterly unselfish, self-sacrificing, and humanitarian. Ram was a living example of sacrifice, truth, and perfection. He would always walk the talk and talk the walk. Krishna was a living example of love, frolics, and togetherness. If Ramayana is for Ram, Mahabharata is for Krishna. Ram was a performer, sadhaka. In Hindi, we call it in India sadhaka. Ram was a performer. Ram was a sadhaka. Krishna was a preacher, upadeshaka. We can call him as upadeshaka. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's greatest creation, talking about life and karma. The lessons of Bhagavad Gita are very, very relevant today in today's circumstances. Both were, are, and shall always be loved, followed, and worshipped by all for centuries to come. You know, friends, this discussion today that we had just now, or we did together, it was forced rather, or the catalyst was the event that took place on 5th August 2020. Hope that the Ram temple being constructed gives India reasons to be happy, to be progressive, to be accomplishing certain good things or many good things for the humanity or for the humanism also. And India is able to lead the world for the next many years to come. Let me complete this discussion today. Let me finish it. I am thankful to all of you, and one last request that I will be doing to each one of you listening, that please like, share, and subscribe these discussions so that many people get benefited out of it. Thank you, friends. All the best. Have a great future ahead.